Hello, I am Ryan Rain, and welcome to the RainStorm with Ryan Rain. Yes, I have the face for radio, the voice for newspaper. Today, we're going to let the floodgates open on our special guest today, Mikey Gulino. Welcome to the show, Mikey.
Thank you for having me, man. This podcast world is really taking off, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man, it's been a while since last seen you. How you been?
Been doing good, with Flatline, ending, that's my home. So, close the doors to that. It's got to push myself and get out there and get as much bookings as I can.
Yeah, I've seen you popping up in a lot of places lately. A lot of promos, different promotions popping up here recently. A lot of new
Mm.
stuff popping up for you.
I'm trying here, man. It's all I can do right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But before we get into some of the new stuff, we'll get into more of that. Let's talk about some of your earlier memories. What are some of your earlier memories of pro wrestling that you can remember?
Let's see. Earliest, probably. I mean, there wasn't a time where there wasn't a time where I started watching wrestling. It's just kind of always been a part of my life. Sorry, I had to go in from outside to inside. It's way too hot outside.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Um, Probably two come to mind. First being, of course, with everybody my age, the barbershop window incident.
Right.
Shawn Michaels turning on Marty Jannetty pretty much traumatized me as a kid. And also with leading up to WrestleMania, they had Hogan versus Sid Justice, and they were in a tag match. I want to say it might have been Ted DiBiase and maybe Andre. Maybe that sounds right. I don't. I can't remember who they were up against, but Hogan goes for the hot tag, and Sid just drops down from the apron, and the look on Hogan's face as Sid's walking to the back, like, "What did you do to me, man?" And dude, it crushed me. So those two always stuck with me. As a child, I just remember sitting in front of the screen, just like, what did I just watch?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would imagine seeing hearing about that and seeing you around shows. Safe to say you were the Hulkamaniac growing up.
Yeah, yeah, that would be an understatement. There was, I'm not ashamed to say it. Everyone's got their favorites, and you would think, when people say, "Oh, well, I'm a Hulk Hogan fan," the first thing they're gonna say, "Well, Hogan can't work. Hogan can't do this. Hey, Hogan." And I was like, "Well, he's the Babe Ruth of wrestling." So, everyone's got their own opinions, and I can't like deny certain things when they're like, "Well, what about the with the finger poke of death and all that?" I'm like, I'm not judging Terry Bollea. I'm saying Hulk Hogan. I mean, there's no one like it for me. He's the real life superhero.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, I didn't read comics and all that. When I was
No.
growing up. So, you know, we talked about this earlier, but I didn't record it. We'll go ahead and put that out there. I didn't record it.
there's
We'll
no
put
there's no hiding it. Let's just put it out
we'll
there.
just go ahead and send that out to Botchamania. We talked about this earlier, and we talked about wrestlers were pretty much superheroes, and I didn't watch comics or read comics or anything like that. Sting was for me that was the superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you with Hogan. So
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
that was the guy. There was no Spider Man or Batman when I was growing up. It was Hogan and Macho Man and the Warrior, Bret Hart, and all these guys. It's like those are the superheroes. Those are the guys that had posters on my wall. Those are
right.
the guys we dressed up as for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, I was dressed as Sting, and other kids are like, "What are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Sting." You're like, what
The
issue is
who?
he in? I'm like, what do you mean? He beat Flair. I mean, what do you mean what issue? I don't
Get out
know.
of here! Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't need you around me
Exactly,
anymore. But
exactly, man.
those were our superheroes, and
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe that's put. I made a post about it earlier, and maybe it's put people like maybe me and you at a disadvantage going into locker rooms.
No.
Because that's all that's in a locker room is superhero talk.
Oh, it is. I mean, 100%. There's no. I can't click in with anyone when you start talking about superhero, Marvel, DC. I just kind of sit in the back and just like, oh, do you guys ever want to talk wrestling again? I know about, like I said, outside of a locker room, you have. Oh, there's Mikey. He's the wrestling guy. He knows about wrestling. But you get in the locker room, that's already like a well-known thing. Oh, all these guys are wrestling fans. Let's all talk about superheroes. I'm like, I don't know a dang thing. Star Wars, even that. Like, my roommate is a huge fan of Star Wars, and there's Star Wars stuff everywhere, and I have no idea who any of them are.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I don't like TV shows like Arrow and Flash help me limp my way through a conversation a little
Exactly.
bit, but oh man, I was in a
I mean,
conversation with Danny Only, Shadow Jackson, and Jeremy Cruz one day in Royston, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know shit here. Wow.
yeah. I mean, it's tough when you get. I mean, you got Cruz has a Spider-Man tattoo across his chest. You're like, how do you even step up to a guy like that?
Yeah, and that tattoo is quite impressive too. It's
Yes.
like I don't have any myself, but
Hmm.
that is it's a pretty big commitment right there.
Yeah, I mean, people look at whatever tattoos I have, like. So what's this talk on? You're like, oh, it's a Pee Wee tattoo. You talk about Pee Wee's Big Adventure. All in. Let's do that. Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Pee Wee, Zelda, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, and wrestling. That was pretty much my entire childhood, in
Yeah,
a
like
nutshell.
yeah, man, I watched Flintstones as a kid.
Oh
Like,
yeah, oh
I,
yeah.
I mean,
You gotta stick with the classics, man.
yeah, I had the basics. You
There ain't
know,
nothing wrong with that, man.
no, not at
Flintstones.
all.
I mean, Flintstones, Jetsons, all that stuff, man. I
No.
remember I had what was it? The Flintstones meets the Jetsons
Oh
on like
yeah.
recorded. My mom recorded it on the VCR, so it has all the old commercials in it, and I just remember watching that like religiously.
Oh
That and
man,
then we
yeah.
had WrestleMania. I'm gonna botch this, and people are like, "You're not even a real Hulkamania." Like, I'm gonna say maybe 7 Hogan versus Slaughter. Maybe I think
I,
so.
I can't.
Let's
That sounds
let's say it's right.
familiar. I mean,
But
uh,
I remember that I had that on VHS too, and that was like my holy grail. I'd watch that like 3 times a day. So I just remember watching that, and I think that's really where the Hulkamania thing kind of drove into my brain. Was just like I had that one tape that I was riding with, and of course, I mean, there's to me in that era there was no bigger heel than Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, the dude was an American hero, and then he sided with Iraq, Iran, and I mean, there was a story. What was it? He burned the Hulk Hogan shirt on the stick, and he was going to burn an American flag, and they were like about to do it, but then they were like, "No, let's just stick to the Hulkamania shirt." And I'm like, God, the '80s were nuts.
wow.
Yeah, I could not believe anyone doing that nowadays.
No.
I mean,
I mean,
Jericho got fined for kicking what the Brazilian or some flag.
the Brazilian flag, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
terrible.
Sean desecrated the Canada flag, but I don't think he got anything for that. But that was
No,
in
I
the
mean he did it
90s,
like
too.
every week. It
Yeah. He was
was an
doing
every week
anything to
thing.
mess with Hart, though. So,
No.
um, back then, I mean, what was one of your favorite matches?
Oh, I mean, I can look back and I have, the I feel like are in everyone's kind of top five. The Hogan Andre was great for me. The TLC from WrestleMania 17. Uh, I'm going to say the Hogan versus The Rock from WrestleMania 18 was a huge deal for me. One because I was watching the McMahon promo on Raw, and he's like, "I'm gonna inject the poison and kill what I create." It's you're sitting there like,
Yeah.
it's there, just say it, and then he turns around and it's on his chair. I mean, I flipped out, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, "Well, it's not going to be Hogan. It can't be Hogan NWO." And then he shows up, and then he's facing The Rock, and then it's at WrestleMania. I mean, it didn't get any bigger from that. And you can watch whatever WWE, WCW match you want, and it's just like that crowd in Toronto was. I mean, there was nothing like it, and they were all for Hogan. Of course, me, I was like, yeah, that's the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I think at the time I didn't really understand the importance of Rock and Hogan,
Mm,
much less the importance of WrestleMania.
mm,
But now that I'm in the business, I actually see that there were near what 80, 70,000 people there.
mm. I mean, Canadian fans of all people are
Yeah,
like, I mean, they say it every time they go to Canada. It's like they're ass backwards.
yeah,
There's no predicting what kind of reaction. I mean, they beat him with what, a sledgehammer or a bat, put The Rock in an ambulance, and then drove a semi truck through the ambulance. And it's just like no matter what Hogan did, there was like he was not getting heat when he walked out there. And I mean, to look at it from a booking standpoint, I guess you can be like, oh my god, there's matches completely flip flop, but you watch it and The Rock sees it, and that's what makes it so incredible is just because they literally roles reversed in that match, and it wasn't even that. I mean, The Rock could be working heel, but he wasn't doing it like blatantly. He was just playing for what the crowd was giving back to him, and that's what
right.
made the match so amazing. Just because like you knew that Hollywood Hogan wasn't going to be around because it's like there was no way that he was going to be able to get a heel reaction from that crowd. Not after being gone that long, no way.
No, I think the post match kind of
Oh yeah, they
really,
killed the NWO right after that.
yeah, really solidified Hogan being there a little longer.
Yeah,
Give him the babyface run.
he got an undisputed title. I wouldn't say that was his best run as a champion, but he did do it.
Yeah, he got there. Which
Yeah.
I don't think Flair did. Flair get a final
No,
main event push or
I think he got some sort of. If I remember, there was a match that he had with. It might have been on Raw with Triple H or something like that. I want to say he might have got a push like that, but he never had the World Heavyweight title
yeah,
or the WWE one.
yeah.
I
I
mean, he had it
remember.
in '92
Yeah,
when he won the Royal Rumble, but of course Hogan had something to do with that because it's Hogan in the '90s.
right. Yeah, I remember Flair like having a match with Triple H, and then like Triple H let him hold the belt after
Yeah,
the
yeah,
match.
that's exactly what I'm thinking of. I just
Yeah,
can't remember the setup or whatever
I
it
don't.
was. I just remember him
I
getting
don't
like
either.
on everyone's shoulders holding the title, and of course Flair crying.
Yeah, I don't remember what that was. If that was pre-evolution or after evolution,
Yeah, I
or
couldn't tell you either. I have
I
no
have
idea.
no. There's so many Flair matches, so many Hogan matches. I can't keep up with any of them really at this point.
Yeah, there's no way.
So, how did you get involved into the indie scene?
Okay, wow. This is always an interesting story. So I I used to go to FCW shows back in the day, and I just go, as a fan and go watch. I remember Oz Night. up there, and all those guys when Rashad was the Kool-Aid Man and
Oh
all this
wow.
good stuff. Yeah, it was way back when, and I remember going to those, and they kind of faded away. And my friend Billy Brash, he's me and him have been friends before either one of us got in the business. And actually, when we met at a random party, and he heard me talking about I think DX at the time. And he was like, "You talking about DX?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then we just instantly became best friends. It was like right off the rip. And he got more and more. Hey, I think I'm going to start training out here. I was like, "That's awesome." So he started training out there, and then he started, working shows in the southeast. And he had texted me and he said, "Hey, I got a, believe it or not, I got a live wire show." And I wanted it. It was, I believe, it was live wire. Maybe
It
it
was
was.
kind of live wire, kind of
Was
not.
it Apex? Is that what it
Yeah,
was
it
called?
was
Yeah,
the Apex show, but it was pretty much live wire or
yeah.
AWA. It was a combination of a bunch of stuff, but
Okay.
it didn't last long though.
Because I do remember being at that show when he maybe Brady Pierce. I think he was working
Right.
Brady, and after that show, he was the next day he was supposed to be working at the Redneck Olympics, and apparently something fell through. It got canceled, and so he's just kind of we're just hanging out at my house, and he's like, "Well, there's this FPW show," and I was like, "FPW? That might be the same promotion that used to be FCW." And by this time, I think it was their second show. And he's like, well, "Let me go see who's booking for FPW." And he's like, "Oh, this guy named Chris Wiggins." I was like, "Oh, I went to high school with Chris." And he was like, "Okay." And well, he gives him a call and he said, "Hey, do you have any spots for the show?" He's like, "Yeah, totally." And he just, without even hesitation, we're at Cece's eating, and Brash looks over at me and he goes, "Oh yeah, I have a manager with me. Is that cool?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, William's like, "Yeah, bring him along." Because at that time, I had, a little bit of training. With him, I was out in the ring with, let's see, I remember it was out in Darkness Ring, out in South Carolina, maybe.
Oh yeah, in the valley.
Yeah, with
Oh.
Brett Harmon was out there. Couple of guys out there. And I did a little bit of training out there, and it just kind of I didn't do anything with it. And he just looked over at me. He's like, "Well, I got a manager." So we rolled up to FPW, and Wiggins saw me. He goes, "Hey man, hey Mike, what's going on, man?" He goes, "Yeah, if you're his comp, just come up there and get a ticket." And I was like, and Brash goes, "No, that's my manager." And he goes, "Okay, all right, let's do this." So it was Brash versus Ken Lee, and that was, I mean, honestly, that was the first time I did the manager thing. And I think after the show, Fireman came up to me. He was like, "That was incredible. You need to work my shows in Thompson." And I was like, "Hit me up." And I mean, he got in contact with me that night and was probably one of the, between him and Brash were like the two driving forces that kept my career going more than like a one night only kind of thing. Because they saw something in me that was able to keep me pushing forward. And then when Flatline, because Flatline was they wanted to bring me and Brash back in together, and their dates conflicted with CWA in Orangeburg. So Brash was like, "Well, I have prior, bookings. I can't, you know." So he's like, "But use Mikey," and they're like, "Well, we want to keep Mikey with you." So it's kind of like I was in that gray area where they're like, they want to use me, but they want to use me with Brash, but Brash can't work the FPW shows. So I'm like, all right. So I'm working, the fireman shows, and I would just go to FPW shows as a fan. I was like, well, if they can't book me right now, I'm going to show them that I'm dedicated to their product. And it was probably about maybe 3 months later, and Wiggins and Caleb were at a fireman show, and I was managing Axel Ross versus Moose, and Now I remember Fireman said, and he's like, "Okay, well, you cut a promo in the beginning." I'm like, "Okay." So Wiggins and Caleb kind of stroll up to me and they're like, "So,
golly, you will be out here all night, and do you people show this man the respect he deserves?" For those of you who do not know, my name is Mikey Gulino. Now, in normal situations, I hand out my business card. Let's face it, we're in Thompson. Half of you people probably don't even know how to read. Now, I know you Georgians, they're not all there upstairs. So I'm going to say this nice and slow for y'all people. I have a new client. So ladies and gentlemen, get out of your seats. Put your hands together for my new friend and business partner, Axel Ross. We need to shut up.
you're cutting a promo tonight, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "All right, we'll be watching." And I'm sitting there like, "You son of a bitch, all right." So I knew, like, they kind of gave me the kind of look like, what you do tonight could affect, whether we do something Flatline. And then they put me with Wade, and since then it's been a dream. Me and Wade just be doing me and Wade stuff.
Yeah. Wow. So, and then from there, you guys in like International Incident,
Mm-hmm.
which ended up involving Carl Hager and Tommy Pinarelli and was it John Pierre?
Yeah, well, they had what had happened was they had the international incident was Hager and Wade, and then they brought in Pierre, and then right when they brought in Pierre, they brought in me. Then right when they brought in me, Pierre was moving, so then it went back to two, and then they put Tommy with them for a few shows, and then I think Tommy couldn't make a few of the shows, so it ended up being just them two, and then it ended up kind of just getting down to me and Wade. So it's like international incident had like this big wave that kind of went up and down, and either way, I mean, it was a blast to work with all those dudes, and then just to be with Wade, just being around the guy in a locker room. You go out to eat in the ring. I mean, the dude's one of the most genuine, nice people in this business, and he's hilarious and he's so smart. And I mean, the dude's got it all together. So I couldn't ask for a better person for them to put me with, to start off, to learn from Brash and Fireman in the beginning, and then Flatline to say, okay, well, we're going to put you with Wade, and then me and him just kind of meshed together as far as comedy wise. We could play off of each other, and it just worked so well together.
I got to work with Wade a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
it was fun. He came to me in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he moved from Tennessee, I think it was,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to work, and he was very persistent on
Yeah.
wanting to work, and I didn't have, I had like overbooked card, and I
Yeah.
just was like, man, um, and, I was working at a sector at the time, and
Yeah.
I know you've been to sector, and that's a tiny
Mm.
place, and you don't
Oh,
want to
man.
overbook that place too much because that locker room,
Oh, I
the
can't
locker
even
room,
imagine.
the back behind the stage area is really tiny.
And when I heard, I've never been to one of the shows at Sector for one of the wrestling shows, but I went down there for music, And when someone was like, "Yeah, they're booking a wrestling show in there," I was like, "God, man, that's got to be tiny in there. It's gonna be a tight squeeze."
It was, man. It
Yeah,
was very very tight. We
yeah.
ended up having to bend the feet on the ring post up just to barely
Oh,
get it in.
jeez. So
You
you
could go
basically
to the
kind of
top
just
rope.
used two sides of the ring, right?
Um, Pretty
Or could
much.
you
Like
kind of hit the ropes a little bit?
some people did use those ropes, but it acted as a cage, kinda. Like sometimes
Gotcha,
you would hit the
gotcha.
wall,
Uh,
sometimes you wouldn't. I guess it depended on how hard you
oh well,
hit the
yeah. I guess they
ropes.
use it as in kind of throwing them against the cage or whatever.
Um, uh, yeah, funny story about that, I guess. But we'll get into that later, maybe another episode. But yeah, Wade, I finally got him on, and it ended up working out, and I ended up getting to work with him in matches in a faction,
Mm,
the also appearing group
mm,
at the show, the Apex show and AWA shows that you came to.
mm.
And that was really fun stuff to do, and nobody else really wanted to do anything with that. So, oh well. But it was fun, solid guy to work with,
Oh yeah.
great in the ring,
He's just. I
fun.
mean, there's just he has these ideas that. I mean, you would sit there and be like, "Where did that come from?" Like there's no one that could possibly think of that, and you would look at this. Like you can tell, like the kind of dude he is by looking at his bag that he takes with him is like he literally has like a bag of gimmicks. Like he's like, you want brass knuckles? I got that. You want a lead pipe? I got that. You want this? Like he's any time where someone's like, hey, does anyone have uh thread in the needle? I gotta sew my gear. And like you talking away, like the dude just has it all together. And I mean, like I said, one of the nicest people to be around. And it's kind of like I developed this clique pretty early on where it was, me and Brash because I'd known him for a long time. And then when I got with Wade, me and him clicked very well. And then later on down the road, I had met Ethan Case through Brash, and me and him hit it off. And, with these bookings out elsewhere, it's basically like Ethan will be like, hey, I got a show in Carolina. You want to ride with me? Shake some hands, meet some people. I'm like, let's do this. So he's been a huge driving force in me trying to, get out and put my name out there and stuff. Because I mean, that's another guy. I mean, I couldn't ask for a better friend in this business because I mean, he's so smart and he's so talented and it's so easy to listen to him and he's so you can see how much he genuinely like cares about this business and cares about the people that he works with and his friends, and it's just like it doesn't get any better than that. And I'm very lucky to have you know the people that I have in this business that were able to help me kind of get on my feet and start doing things because those are the people that really genuinely care and want to see other people succeed too.
Right, and those people, they are very hard to find. At least in my
Hmm.
opinion,
Hmm.
you have to sift through a lot of sand to find
Yeah.
those genuine people, and especially in this line of work.
Oh
And,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Ethan Case, he's one of those people. I met him back in 2007, I believe it
Hmm.
was. Really good guy, he's been a lot of places, and for him to just come by and just pick you up to take you to random shows like that, to introduce you to other promoters like that,
Hmm.
other workers. That is huge,
Oh
because
yeah.
a lot of people will not do that.
Hmm.
A lot of people are just like, I got this booking. If I bring somebody else, they might take my spot.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is the mentality a lot of people have these
Hmm.
days, and nobody is willing to help out or anything like that. And that's one of the good things right there. That you know,
He wants to see like you have those people that want to see the business grow as a whole and not just kind of me, 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 me. Of
right?
course you have to have that mentality in a certain aspect, which he does because he's. I mean, there's to me, I look at him and he's one of the hardest working dudes that I've ever seen in any like line of work. Period. The dude lives and breathes wrestling. That's his thing, and anywhere from I'll film a promo and put it on private on YouTube just about nothing and just to send it to him like what you think about this, and he'll be completely honest and be like either say it's fantastic or hey, you need to tweak this, do a little bit of that, tweak that. I mean, from promos to bookings to just being a friend, like you couldn't ask for a better dude.
Yeah, and that's something that the business needs more of,
Exactly.
and you don't really see him going, complete negative on social
Mm.
media either.
Oh,
Going
that's
out of his
a
way to bash somebody either.
that's a big thing for me, and with social media and just I mean word of mouth period is that when I started this and I started working at Flatline on the regular, and I knew just through people that there's certain people in this business that there might be trash talking or someone saying this or someone saying that, and I looked at it and I mean I've had that mentality with just regular life, and it's just like I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want someone to say, oh well, we don't want Mikey in our locker room because he did this, or we don't want him here because he's this or he's that. I want everyone to look at me and as a clean slate, like, okay, well, we can trust this guy. He's a genuine good dude to have in the locker room, and that's the kind of mentality that I try to bring along with me, even on social media. Like you were saying, I try to keep it generally clean with my language. Sometimes, it can slip up because I want to be that, guy where someone's like, a booker's like, oh, well, I want to book this guy, but I'm reading his social media. I don't think he seems like a very positive dude. I want to cover all aspects to kind of keep that clean and put that faith in people that be like, okay, well, we can book Mikey. He'll stand strong and do what he has to do for the company.
Right. And, anyone I talk to, they never have a bad thing to say about Mikey Gulino, whether it's
All right,
manager
well,
Mikey Gulino, Captain Mikey Gulino,
the many hats. All right.
many, many hats, yes.
Well, that's another thing for me is like there's no barrier, there's no shame, that's not my character. I look at it like every wrestling show is a completely different it's one thing if you work shows that are generally close to each other and you see the same fans out there, but I mean, I worked a show out in Drexel and I did this Uncle Mikey gimmick, and I was like a hillbilly, which is the complete opposite of the gimmick that I would do here.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't know that I do an Italian Jersey gimmick here. I can do whatever I want, and like that's the beauty in wrestling. It's like you can be whoever you want to these people to fit their, you know, whatever they need for you. You look at it, guys, and these guys are. I was managing the Burke County boys, and I was like, all right, Burke County, I'm gonna be, little country guy. So I went by. It was Mikey Randy Travis Johnson the third. That was my name. And it just kind of rolled out. Like they wanted me to cut a promo, get them a little bit of heat, and I was like, done deal. And I came out with these little short shorts, these short jean shorts, and just winged it.
Oh man.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I had to check my shorts every so often because I mean, when I say short, I mean I was gonna rip them,
Oh man.
which has
That's
happened more times than you think in my managing career.
Oh man. And I think, working distances is good. You can work different characters. And
Hmm.
even when you work short distances, whether it be Flatline, Livewire, UCW, the Fireman Show,
Hmm.
it's Mikey Gulino, the Italian guy with the big chain and the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
It's all pretty much the same guy,
Mm,
whether it's managing a person, managing a promotion, and I think you're managing that fairly well.
thank you.
I mean, I've seen so many people that just don't want to they don't want to manage that for some reason. I don't know why, but
I mean,
they
the
want.
thing, you take it, you take any booking that you can. That's the way I look at it. You want me to be general manager Mikey Gulino? You want me to manage this guy? You want me to manage a tag team? Whatever you need me for, I'm there. I I am very lucky to be a part of this period. So it's just like me. I'm not an in ring worker. I don't wrestle. So that leaves me open to whatever thing I can do outside of that squared circle. And it's
Right.
like I'm game for anything. Whether commentating, I mean, I'll be a ring announcer. I'm loud enough for it.
Do you have a favorite crowd so far?
Oh, favorite crowd so far. Well, I will say this. PWX has opened my eyes to a whole different ball game. It's I mean, I've known of those type of crowds, but I've never seen them in person. And as far as favorite crowds, I will say this without a doubt: Flatline Pro Wrestling. That's my home. And I mean, they got to see an episodic TV show every month. Like, it wasn't. You have a lot of these wrestling promotions. Like, okay, well, they don't remember what happened last month. Let's just do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. I mean,
Right.
what you don't see many indie promotions have backstage segments. Like, I mean, they had a product that was able to show these people that they are watching essentially a TV show. And they knew who the characters were. They knew who I was when we did this Galino family thing. They knew right when that music hit that it was going to be someone in the Galino family, and they were already booing before we even walked through the curtain. Like that to me puts the biggest smile on my face when they can boo your music, your face, and you're like, okay, well, maybe I'm doing something right here. And those, I mean, that's my home. And they had our very last show. They put me and Wade in a tag match against Adrian Davis and Kid Riot, which was a blast. And after the show, everyone packs up, and I usually stay in the back until you got all the fans had left, and I'll help tear down the ring. Well, this was the last show, and it's almost like you're saying goodbye to all these people. And after I just hit the curtain, and I found everybody that kind of made my job easy, and I shook hands with them, and I was like, thank you guys. Like, I wanted to thank each and every one of them, because I mean, they did not miss a show. When Monday Night Raw, or when the Raw House show came through in December, they were all still front row. They did not miss a show, and they were dedicated to that. And that was a very special thing for me, is to see those people out there. And you see that in PWX. Like I said, the PWX is a different breed, though. They have the smart wrestling fans, but they're not the, because I know you've seen it at a Raw show. They have the smart wrestling fans that think they're even smarter than wrestling, and they want to do what they want to do, almost hijack the show. They want to cheer whatever they want to cheer. They want to start
Right.
chants about themselves, and it's like, that's not how PWX is. They have these smart wrestling fans that know who the bad guy is, know who the good guy is, and know what wrestling is. They know every indie name in the book, but they will still be there to be a part of the show, because they want to suspend their beliefs. They still have that. They don't have that bitter heart, smart mark kind of mentality. The people that are bitter towards wrestling. They don't want to see this. They don't want to see it. They become these wrestling fans that we were when we were kids. And I see the look on the. I come out to those shows, and I get like that, and I was like, gosh, I mean, it's addicting to see something like that, and especially not too far from home. And it's great to see that everywhere in the Southeast that indie wrestling is alive and well. I mean, there's not a single crowd that I've been in front of that I was like, all right, let me get out of here. I'm done. You know, you be between 5 people to, 500, 600 people. And whoever it is, I can see the look on their face. And it's the look that I had staring in front of a TV screen when I was a kid. And it's like, if you can suspend their beliefs, that's all worth it for me. So, I mean, all those crowds are fantastic. I haven't yet to be in front of a bad crowd.
I'm sure there was some live wire crowds that were pretty horrendous.
Oh, well, you have. I still have people that will be like, "Yeah, we're at the Livewire show. You made fun of my daughter." I'm like, "I'm sorry."
Well, there wasn't many people to choose from, so had to pick on somebody.
Those Livewire shows, I had a blast. I mean, it was a lot
They
of
were
fun.
smaller groups, but they were fun. Except for that one guy with tattoos that brought his chair all the way up beside the ring, and at the last August show where we stripped Fireman of the title,
Mm.
everybody is enraged, and this guy is so just don't care, and he pissed me off so bad. But yeah, Flatline, clear advantage for them because they got the screens, the production values through the roof for them, so yeah, they can do the backstage promos, and their product value goes way up,
Mm.
way over anything that anybody else is doing combined.
Mm.
And PWX, I've went to a few shows in 2012 or 2013, I think it was, and it was great back then. I lived closer to Charlotte back then, so I was able to go to more shows.
Mm.
Adam Cole was champion then, so
Oh
that was a
wow!
treat. Yeah, Adam Cole, Kevin Owens, Davey
Oh wow!
Richards. It was
What a roster there!
yeah, like Eddie Edwards and Roderick Strong were the tag champions. Adam
Oh
Cole was
jeez.
the PWX champion.
Mm.
Like, wow, what a
Yeah,
this is an indie show.
exactly. I mean, that's the kind of roster they have now. They're just like you just see that all those guys, and you're like, all these dudes are on one show that I'm at. Like
Yeah,
it's definitely a treat to see, and that's something me and Ethan got me going out there to those shows, and I've been trying to get with the Ugly Ducklings out there, which are Lance Loon, Colby Carino, and Rob Killjoy, and they have something out there that is huge. And it came out of for me, it came out of nowhere. It's just they just have this chemistry together that is so addicting. Like you can't wait to see what they do next, and it's something that I want to be a part of as their manager. I want to do this Coach Bombay thing with them as them the Mighty Ducks. So I've been working on trying to get my promos out there and trying to spread the word and try to get PWX to see this Coach Bombay thing. So I'm hoping that all pans out in the future, and if not, I want to keep working on it until I get there. I would like to believe that I'm a hardworking guy, and when I see something that I want, I'm going to work towards it until I get it. So if it takes a while, it takes a while. If it's sooner than later, then that's it too. But a great group of people out there, from the booking to the production, everyone out there. It reminds me of a Flatline family because the way that they set up and tear down, and just everyone's very, very supportive of each other. And it's like you just look at it and you're like, I gotta be here. It's just like
right.
it just clicks in your head. So that's the main goal for me within 2016 is the work towards that. So
Yeah, I mean that's not a terrible goal at all. I
yeah.
mean PWX, a lot of top talents have come through there, usually
Hmm.
on their like last tours before heading off to WWE. I mean
Yeah. Hmm.
Owens, Joe,
Yeah.
even, I mean countless names have gone through there.
Hmm.
And then you got John Schuyler, Cedric Alexander still there.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, Scholars are champion right now, and I
Okay.
actually saw him at the NXT show in Columbia, and I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, dude, like so stoked for those guys, and just to have that, you know, what's going on for them, and just seeing how WWE is changing into this new breed, and it's just like this is what everybody's been wanting for so long, and I think it's finally starting to get the ball rolling, you know.
Yeah, I actually went to the Charlotte or Concord
Okay.
NXT show, and I saw Skylar there, and that was really neat to actually see somebody
Yeah,
live. Because
exactly, exactly.
I mean, I've seen Big Game James on
Mm.
TV, which that's awesome in itself to see someone
Yeah.
on TV, on
Mm.
WWE TV, and I've seen Anthony Henry on TV,
Yeah.
and I've seen him in person at a
Mm.
house show, and he got his haircut one time,
Yeah, I was there too. Yep.
and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but it's just really cool to know that you've shared locker rooms with these people, and now that
Exactly.
they come from the same locker room as you, have made it to
Mm.
bigger places where you want to go at some point, and that's just mind blowing to me
Hello.
that it can actually happen.
Sorry, you cut out for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry,
You're good.
but
I was like, no, no, not yet.
but yeah, man,
Uh,
it's mind blowing.
it really is. I mean, it to me. You look at it, it's like there's not that many degrees of separation from where the end goal for everybody is.
Right.
And it's. I mean, I remember I was like second row at Raw in Charlotte, and it was probably about 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and second row Monday Night Raw, and I texted Billy Brash, and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna be driving through Columbia. Maybe get some lunch." He's like, "Can't. I'm busy." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He texted me later, and he said, "Look out for the penguin." I was like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Adam Rose's party comes out, and sure enough, he's the penguin in the rosebuds, and I was like, "Really? Tell me you were gonna be on Monday Night Raw?" But I mean, he knew where I was sitting, so like, there's a video of it, and me just going crazy just to see, like that's your dude,
Yeah.
and you're proud of people like that, and that's the kind of unconditional love you have for wrestling is like you just want to see anyone succeed in it because they belong there.
Right. Right. Like even if I don't make it, as long as somebody I know
Mm-hmm.
around me makes it,
Mm-hmm.
then at least one of us is getting there. I
Exactly.
think
Well,
that's
it's crazy because when I worked one of the first fireman shows I worked a show with Uha Nation, which is Apollo Crews,
right.
and I remember I was like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. I had him on Facebook, and I just kept up with his career, and it just like from him going through Dragon Gate, and then oh my god, he's on NXT, and now like he's like uploading his Facebook profile picture of him like at Monday Night Raw, and I'm just like, this is blowing my mind. And it's so awesome to see people's careers, and you see like, I mean, instantly when I saw that guy at Fireman Show, I was like, this dude's gonna be a huge star. I mean, he already was at that time, but you knew that there was no denying what he deserved. And I mean, I
Right.
know a lot of guys like that. I mean, I look at Anthony Henry, and I'm just like blown away every time. And I'm like, I know that guy, and he's that good at what he like. It's insane. I mean, there's a ton and ton of talent in the Southeast that you could fill a WWE locker room with, without a doubt.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. There is so much talent, be it PWX, whether it was at Flatline,
Mm,
AWE, they
mm.
had quite talent. While We Wrestle, the
Yes,
former
yes.
Anarchy, they're putting on some great shows. Bushido, they're
Oh yeah.
bringing in some talent.
I mean that and alone just blows my mind. I was like, oh, that's gonna be in Augusta, okay?
Yeah, I just so much talent just right here in the southeast, and it's like,
Mhm.
wow, and I'm here in the southeast. That is
Exactly. I
the
mean,
coolest
it's
part
a great
about it.
time because when I remember being like a younger teenager, like 13, 14, 15 years old, and I remember hearing all these indie shows, and it was just like it was Philly, everything was Jersey, everything was New York. There might have been, of course, stuff in the southeast, but you didn't hear much about it. And
Right.
now it's just like, I guess maybe because I'm in the business, but it's like I'm surrounded by it. Like there's not I mean, to say like everyone knows like, oh, Saturday Mikey's going to the show, working the show, something. Because I mean, it's like you can't get enough of it. At least in my opinion. If I'm not working a show, I'm going to one. That's just the way it is.
Like, I remember the first time I ever heard of an indie show. Like, I didn't know there was anything other than, WWE,
Exactly. Yeah.
WCW, ECW, or
Hmm.
the occasional I'd pick up an OVW stream on
Yeah.
a Dish Network, I think it was at the time. But I was getting a haircut one day, and this guy came in. Like, he was talking very loud. His name is the Hard Working Man. If anybody's listening and knows who he is, they know what I mean. But he's talking very loud, and his wife's telling him just shut up about the nonsense, and he's just going on and talking about TNA star Petey Williams is going to be wrestling with us tonight. And I'm like, what?
The who?
What?
Yeah.
Petey Williams? Wait a
Yeah.
minute. I know who Petey Williams is. What's this wrestling business you're talking about, sir?
Uh,
Like, you're talking loud enough for me to hear 5 chairs away, so obviously you
exactly.
want me to hear about Petey Williams wrestling. What's this WFJ business you're talking about? I've never
Mhm.
heard of this before. Let me in on this. And then I never heard anything again because he finished his haircut before
Yeah.
I did, but it's
I know
still.
what I heard about WFJ. If I'm spelling that out correctly in my head, is that wrestling for Jesus?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there is a documentary on
Oh,
Netflix.
that's exactly what. The funny thing is, when it was on Netflix, I watched it for the first time with Ethan Case, and he's in that documentary as little baby Yoshi. And
Yeah.
him and Hamrick, I think, were working the show. Or I know Hamrick was in the documentary
Yeah, it
too.
was him and Matt Cruz,
That's
actually.
right. Yeah, that's right. And I just remember seeing this like I'm looking at like this little kid on this documentary, and I'm looking over at Ethan. I'm like, what is? And that's the only like I mean, he would tell me about he has that mask tattooed on his arm, which is a tribute to Yoshi, and that was the only thing I ever saw of him was in that documentary. Kane was in there.
Yeah.
Darkness. Brandon Parker. I mean, just how old is that documentary?
They came. Well, we were the TWF part. This is
Mm.
where most of us came from. You know, we they came out and filmed that in 2007
Okay.
and tried to depict us as the devil. And yeah, they those camera people film like the worst people possible.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like we had talent in that tarped off area, but they chose like the worst people to film and interview.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, only Darkness's interview and I think Chris Main's interview made it to the actual DVD. But
Yeah.
they sat down with the worst possible people for that. I remember looking over. I'm like, man, they're putting us under bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I think I was talking to David Coleman, and I was like, man, this is gonna be shit. This just looks. This is a recipe for bad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they filmed some from the Matt Cruz benefit show, which was, I want to say, 2009,
Hmm.
which you can see where I'm finally made my Netflix debut.
Oh, I
So
gotta rewatch this. Then I didn't catch you on there. I think
yeah,
the time I did watch it, I think before we officially met. So I need to rewatch that.
I am there during the Matt Cruz benefit show at the end.
Okay.
So I'm on Netflix. That's why my booking fee jumped skyrocket and bookings dried up.
It's like
Nobody
you can
wanted.
put it with your 8x10 appearing
Yeah.
on Netflix. Rest for Jesus.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna put what I was on. I'm just gonna put the Netflix symbol, like Netflix superstar, much like WWE superstar or something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
It's just
Netflix
Netflix
superstar.
superstar.
That's fantastic.
Just don't look me up or anything. Unaccredited. I got